bummy today. You was bony and looking too funny today. I don't care, nigga still make change. Let's go.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Chatting with Cheeze podcast. I'm your host, Fat Cheeze, and y'all already know the motto: no gimmicks, only the real. This is episode 52. Y'all know what I need from y'all. Continue to smash that subscribe button. We are on our way to 300 subscribers. Also, like this video when it drops and share the content. Let's go ahead and jump right into it, man. So I've been switching it up a little bit because I had a couple, sports not really going on right now. So I had a couple of topics in mind, but then I said, you know what? When this hit the news right here, this first topic that I said I got to talk about this. Anytime LeBron come up and it's something significant, we got to speak on it. So first topic I got for y'all: could LeBron be on the move? So as some of y'all may know, LeBron opted into his $52.6 million player option, and that got the whole social media, sports media, and everybody in the uproar suspecting LeBron could possibly ask for a trade. The team could be looking to build for the future and move on from LeBron. So I'm going to get my thoughts on it and, tell y'all what I think about it. So on Sunday, ESPN Shams reported that LeBron James is picking up his $52.6 million player option with the Lakers for the 2025-26 season. Rich Paul comments after the opt-in news broke. LeBron wants to compete for a championship, Rich Paul told ESPN. He knows the Lakers are building for the future. He understands that, but he values a realistic chance of winning it all. We are very appreciative of the partnership that we've had for 8 years with Jeannie Buss and Rob Pelinka, and consider the Lakers as a critical part of his career. We understand the difficulty in winning now while preparing for the future. We do want to evaluate what's best for LeBron at this stage in his life and career. He wants to make every season he has left count, and the Lakers understand that, are supportive, and want what's best for him. LeBron James signed a 2-year, $103.3 million extension with the Lakers in 2024. The deal included a player option for the 2025-26 season. In his 22nd season, LeBron James averaged 24.4 points, 7.8 rebounds, and 8.2 assists. Next season will be James' 8th in Los Angeles, the longest single run he's had with one team, and 23rd consecutive season as an active player, an NBA record. LeBron James has signed 9 contracts in his NBA career. Out of these 9 contracts, 8 of them included a player option. However, according to Brian Windhorst, LeBron has never exercised his player option in any of these instances, instead always opted to sign a new contract. Following the statement, though, Paul cleared the air and said that James and the Purple and Gold are not discussing trades, and that he believes in the team's ability to maximize both his and Doncic's timeline via NBA insider Chris Haynes. So here's my thoughts on it, right? So I listened to what everybody had to say and speaking on the situation, and I heard a lot of trade talks, the possibility of LeBron wanting out and may request a trade depending on what the Lakers did via free agency, and or the Lakers may be looking to build for the future and build around Luka and could be looking to move LeBron. I came up with my two thoughts in this whole situation. The first thought that came to mind was, I feel like in this situation, this was LeBron giving the team an ultimatum. We do understand that the Lakers just sold the team, or I don't know if they fully sold it, but for $10 billion. Everybody's seen that the Lakers sold part of the franchise, right? I feel like this was LeBron sending a message through his agent to let these new owners know that I understand that y'all are trying to build for the future with Luka, but understand that I'm still here. Understand that I want to win now. LeBron James wants the same objective to be. He wants them to say, okay, even though we're trying to build around Luka, we still want to be able to build around Luka and also compete this year. I don't see how the Lakers make that happen with LeBron opting in to that $52.6 million. He opted into the $52.6 million thing. You know what I'm saying? I don't see how, because now I feel like he just cash strapped them and now he just made it tougher for them to go out and actually add valuable pieces. There's been rumors about them possibly wanting to go out and get guys like DeAndre Ayton and things of that nature. But honestly speaking, with me, I don't believe that. I believe that LeBron knows that this team can't win. Honestly, I just believe that LeBron sees the tea leaves. He sees the writing on the wall. He knows that this team can't win. I believe that LeBron opted in because he knows that, he sees that, and you got to think LeBron is going to be, I believe, 41 years of age when the NBA come December. LeBron knows, he's been in the league long enough. He understands. He sees what's going on in the Western Conference. He sees that you have teams like OKC who just won the championship. Houston is bulking up. Minnesota, you have Denver still right there. LeBron understands. He's been around long enough to know what's going on. So I believe this was him giving the team an ultimatum, this new ownership, and Jeannie Buss and Rob Pelinka an ultimatum, basically saying, hey, I understand you guys want to build for the future, but I'm still here, and I want to compete, at least try to compete for championships while I'm still in the Lakers uniform. Now, I don't see how that happens with him opting in, but that's just my opinion. So that was my first thought. My second thought is this, and I heard Kendrick Perkins say this when I was watching First Take the other day, and I don't often agree with Big Perk a lot, but in this instance, I agree. Did we all sit back and just think for 1 second that this could be LeBron James' last season? The 25-26 season could be LeBron's last season, and LeBron is just opting in, maximizing, getting that $52.6 million. After this season, he's going to play this season out and see how it goes. And LeBron is going to just ride off into the sunset. We heard LeBron say out his own mouth that Savannah wants him to retire. And I know for a lot of people that's hard to fathom. But LeBron James is older now. It's getting close to that time. What team do we actually believe is going to be willing to trade valuable assets for a guy that's going to be 41 years old, 41 or 42 years old, and we don't know how long we're going to have him, and he's getting $52.6 million. That's just not realistic. The only way I see a team willing to trade for him would have been actually willing to trade, or I would have actually bought the trade scenario, is if LeBron would have opted out of the contract and negotiated a new contract to where his cap hit would be less. Him opting into that, the only way I see a team trading for him is if LeBron goes in and is the cherry on top for a team that's on the brink of winning a championship. But at this point in his career, I don't think LeBron is going anywhere. I don't even see that being realistic. I think, people just came up with that assumption because it makes big headlines, it makes news, but LeBron is going to retire a Laker. I believe that. Like I said, my first option was I believe LeBron was just giving this new ownership an ultimatum, letting them know, hey, I understand that y'all trying to build for the future and y'all want to build this thing around Luka, but I'm here and I want to win a championship now. I want to try to compete for a championship now. And number two option, I believe that we could possibly be watching LeBron James play his last season in 2025-26 season, and he opted in to get that last payday, that last big payday, and he's going to ride off into the sunset. We know LeBron got the bag already, but let's not pretend like athletes are taking pay cuts nowadays. And for all you guys out there, and I read the comments, I was scraping through a lot of the comment section. A lot of you guys, LeBron is selfish. Why is he taking all the money if he's trying to get the team better? The Lakers will never be able to win championships as long as LeBron is taking all the money. Hold on 1 second. Hold that thought. Because I did my research and I also, listen to some guys talk. I hope you guys knew that Kobe Bryant was the highest paid player in the NBA in his last two seasons, which was the 2014-15 and 2015-16 season with the Los Angeles Lakers. According to the NBA salary information sites, he earned $23.5 million in the 2014-15 season and $25 million in the 2015-16 season. So let's not act like the Bucks supposed to stop with LeBron and LeBron is supposed to constantly keep taking these pay cuts even though he's in his 40s. And you know what I'm saying? No, the Lakers just sold the team or did some deal or whatever for $10 billion. $10 $10 billion. If you really wanted to jump out there and make this team better, you wouldn't have a problem with trying to maximize LeBron and Luka's time together and going into the luxury tax. Let's just call it what it is. So we can't expect LeBron to take a pay cut at 40-something years old, but we don't hold these owners account. We're not going to hold the owners' feet to the fire. We're not going to hold Jeannie Buss and these guys. We're not going to hold none of their feet to the fire. Come on. So we can't do it to LeBron. We can't do that. So I'm all in for him getting this money. Get your money. Like I said, me personally, if I was a betting man and I gambled on it, I don't know this to be 100% fact, but I think the 2025-26 season could possibly be LeBron James last year, and that is why he opted in to get this money. That's what I took from it. That's what I took from it. All these contracts he had up until this point, he's never opted in. He's always opted out or restructured a new contract or something. This is the first time we've seen him opt in. It's for a reason. We can't sit back and pretend like it's nothing because it's something. But all the trade talk, I don't see that. I don't see LeBron requesting a trade. We've never seen LeBron request a trade in his career. I don't see it happening now. Also, you got to factor in what a lot of people not thinking of. You still have Bronny there. LeBron's not going to leave everything he's built in LA with his son on the team. I don't see LeBron asking for a trade. So I'm more comfortable going with my second option, saying that LeBron is getting older. He understands that. He already has came out and said Savannah would like him to retire. You know, this could possibly be his last big payday. So why not opt in to that final year and get that $52.6 million? Play this. LeBron probably sees this team isn't winning a championship. Trust me, he's not a fool. He could look and act like he knows, like he thinks. LeBron knows that this team realistically is not going to be able to compete for a championship this year. So opt into this final year of the contract, play this season out, and ride into the sunset. That's what I took from this. Everybody else is saying trade, but I took that from it. So I can't wait to see how it plays out. And right now, the Lakers look like they not doing anything. I mean, the Lakers free agent signing so far was Jake LaRivia, formerly played for the Sacramento Kings. I got to do my research on him and see. I'm going to be honest, I didn't watch too many Sacramento games last year. But I mean, I seen the comments. Some people said that he was pretty good, but the Lakers have been linked to DeAndre Ayton. I seen something today about Al Horford, but we just got to wait and see what happens. I think that Rich Paul's statement, though, was an ultimatum to that Lakers organization because they probably noticed. They probably been hearing little rumors about, the Lakers trying to build this thing around Luka and forgetting, hey, we still got LeBron here. We still got LeBron here, and he still wants to compete. You say what you want, regardless whether the Lakers win or not, LeBron still wants to compete. So I can't wait to see how this thing plays out, man, and it's going to be interesting to see. Hopefully, this is not LeBron's last season. It'll be pretty, I've been watching LeBron my whole life. KD, my favorite player, but LeBron has kind of been a part of this whole thing. It would be sad to see him go, but it got to come eventually, pause. It's going to happen eventually. So that's what I'm leading towards. But I don't believe LeBron requests a trade, and I don't believe the Lakers are seeking or looking for a trade. But we can only wait and see what happens, and let's move on. We switching it up now. It's officially that time. Today's the 1st, so we about 3 weeks away from training camp starting, and my favorite season of them all is right around the corner, NFL season. So now that the NBA season is officially done, you still got some free agency things going on, but I'm switching gears to NFL talk, and this is something that I've been talking to a lot of folks, and shout out to my man Turk. I talked about it that my barber, who's a big Commanders fan, I got a lot of people around me that's big Commanders fans. So the question is, and the topic that's been swirling around is, should Washington fans be concerned about Terry McLaurin's contract situation? So ESPN's Adam Schefter joined the Pat McAfee show Monday and discussed, among other things, an update to the contract negotiations between the Washington Commanders and the star receiver Terry McLaurin. Unfortunately, update was that there is no update, and that in and of itself is concerning for the Commanders and their star receiver. However, Schefter also added that he believes Washington and his star will be able to work it out, even comparing the situation to another popular player currently negotiating terms with his own team. I cannot envision the Commanders moving on from McLaurin, no matter how disgruntled he may be, Schefter said while discussing the Commanders situation. It's sort of like TJ Watt. You can't imagine that these two sides, as far apart as they are today, wouldn't be able to somehow find a way to bridge their differences and figure out a solution. This opinion shared by Schefter matches that of most local outlets and as well as even those around the team. Speaking to his teammates during the OTA period and recent mandatory minicamps, there doesn't appear to be belief that McLaurin won't be part of the team in 2025 and beyond. But today, McLaurin and the Commanders are not close. The Washington Commanders star wideout Terry McLaurin skipped mandatory minicamp amid his contract dispute with the franchise. McLaurin could be asking for something in the $30 million range per season for his new contract, according to Albert Breer, which will put him in the top half of the league's highest paid at the position heading into the 2025 campaign. There are 8 pass catches averaging at least $30 million per season per over the cap. These are Terry McLaurin's stats last season. He had 82 receptions, 1,096 yards, and 13 touchdowns. So my thought on this situation and this contract dispute with the Commanders and Terry McLaurin, I'm going to jump out there and say it first and foremost. Terry McLaurin deserves to get paid. He deserves his money. I'm not a Commanders fan, but I'm a huge Terry McLaurin fan. I believe Terry McLaurin is a top 10 wide receiver in the NFL. I believe that Terry McLaurin has been loyal to this franchise through all these years since he's been drafted. Different quarterbacks who he's played with, he's produced. He's done what he's supposed to do. He's done his part. Right now, I felt as though, and honestly, I can't be mad at him. Right now, he's trying to strike while the iron is hot. You guys finally got me a quarterback. Jaden Daniels looks elite. You guys finally got me a top-end quarterback, and I showed you what I can do. Last year, to me, was the best year we've seen from Terry McLaurin. And I understand people arguing, saying, well, he's a 29-year-old receiver, 30-year-old receiver. I understand that. But I just feel like at some point when a guy is as loyal as he's been to this franchise, when, let's be honest, when we're living in the age of the diva receiver, he could have been asked out a while ago and he chose not to. He stuck it out. I believe he deserves to get paid just for that alone. You know what I'm saying? And not only that, every year he's produced. Every year the defense, when the defense is game planning for the Washington Commanders, the number one person to take away on that offense is Terry McLaurin. And he still managed to produce year in and year out. They got to find a way to get this done. And honestly speaking, I believe it will get done. Now, the question is, how long does it go? Because me personally, I would want him there day one of training camp. Now, you don't want this thing to linger on into training camp and then it gets done closer to the season, because that's where you get those little knick-knack injuries, things of that nature. So you will hope that it gets done before training camp so they can have Terry McLaurin in their full arsenal ready to go for training camp and get things rocking and rolling. But these are the receivers currently making $30+ million in the NFL right now. So you have Justin Jefferson at $35 million, well-deserved. CeeDee Lamb at $34 million, well-deserved. A.J. Brown, $32 million, well-deserved. You have Amon-Ra St. Brown at $30.2 million, well-deserved. Now, this right here is where it gets tricky. You got Brandon Ayuk at $30 million, and you have Tyreek Hill at $30 million. Now, out of all these receivers on this list, I believe that Terry McLaurin is better than one, and that's Brandon Ayuk. I'm taking Terry McLaurin over Brandon Ayuk. If Brandon Ayuk is making $30 million, I believe Terry McLaurin should at least be making more than Brandon Ayuk. That's just me, though. That's what I believe. If Brandon Ayuk is making $30, I believe Terry McLaurin could slot in that because it's kind of hard because you got Amon St. Brown making 30.2, and I don't think Terry McLaurin is better than Amon. So if you have Brandon Ayuk making 30, could you maybe put Terry at 30, a little bit over Amon St. Brown, or maybe slot him in at 31? I think that's kind of the discussion with where you want to slot him at. But I'm taking him over Brandon Ayuk. I wouldn't take him over Terry. I wouldn't take him over Tyreek Hill, but I'm definitely taking him over Ayuk. He's the main one on this list that I believe Terry is better than. But I think they'll figure it out. This team needs Terry. I don't care how great the season was last year, and I understand that everybody's riding high off the Jaden Daniels experiment his first season, and he was excellent. But if you put anyone in that franchise, and especially Jaden Daniels on a lie detector test, they want Terry McLaurin in there. But it's a business. But I believe that Washington understands and values Terry McLaurin. He's been there. He's been loyal to them. I think a deal gets done. The main question is, when does it get done? Because we seen CeeDee Lamb last year, go miss all the training camp, finally get the deal about a week or two before training camp ended, and you seen him, it was kind of a slow start for him in the season. People could say what they want. Oh, this guy's been here for this period of time or whatever. You need those reps. He's already missed OTAs, mandatory minicamp. You have to have him there for training camp. You have to. If you're Washington, this is within at least, I would give him about another week. Within the next week, you need to get to the table and find a way to get this deal done, push this thing through so you can have your star number one receiver there at the beginning of training camp. But all in all, I believe this deal gets done. So I don't think Washington fans should be that concerned. I understand a lot of Washington fans love Terry and they want him there. I don't see a trade happening. I don't see him requesting a trade because, come on now, all the things he's been through with these different quarterbacks, he never requested a trade then. I don't see him requesting a trade now. I just think he wants his just due. And shout out to him and his agent, because they struck when it was hot. They like, oh, y'all got me a quarterback and I produce, basically showing y'all what I can do. Oh yeah, it's time to pay the piper. So I believe it gets done. Hopefully for my Commanders fans and friends, it gets done soon so they can have a full arsenal. Terry, Debo with Jaden, and you go ahead and get this thing rolling. But that's my opinion on the situation. Moving on, we sticking to the NFL. I told you we rolling. So I had to think of another topic of what I could talk about, and I came up with this. So I named my 3 head coaches that are on and should be on the hot seat headed into this 2025 season. So some long thought went into this, and it's probably gonna be some guys on this list who y'all think should have made it, y'all think should be on here that's not on here, but these are my top 3. So what I want y'all to do, I want y'all to comment below and let me know what y'all feel. Do y'all think this list is right, or do y'all think a name should be taken out and someone should be added? So number 1 on my list on head coaches on the hot seat heading into the 2025 season, this right here shouldn't be a surprise for anyone. Brian Daboll for the New York Giants. In the 3 years he's been on the job, the Giants are 18-32-1, and they're coming off a 3-14 season last year at the end of the 2024 campaign. It felt like Daboll may be on the brink of getting the axe, but ownership decided to give him another shot in 2025. Poor quarterback play has been the Achilles heel for the Giants over Daboll's tenure, and the organization did make efforts this offseason to rectify it. It signed Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston in free agency and traded up into the back end of the first round of the 2025 NFL draft to select Ole Miss quarterback Jackson Dart. Wilson is currently positioned to be the Week 1 starter, but Daboll's fate may rest on Dart, who impressed during the offseason program. If Dart takes over at some point during the season and shows flashes, that could be enough to save Daboll. My thoughts on Brian Daboll, I believe if this team doesn't, at least at bare minimum, I'm going to be honest, I think it's either make the wild card or he loses his job. That's just my opinion. I'm honestly surprised that Brian Daboll didn't get fired this past year, and I don't wish firing on nobody, by the way. This is just my opinion. But I do want to give him a little bit of grace because, like they stated in this paperwork, in this article, Brian Daboll has been unfortunately, the fall guy for some bad quarterback play. You got to think he had Daniel Jones for a bunch of his career. We all know how awful Daniel Jones was, and then last year it was just a quarterback carousel. You had Zach Wilson playing some games. It was just different. You had what's my man, the Italian? I can't think of his name right now, but if you a Giants fan, you know who I'm talking about. So it's been a quarterback carousel. I don't think Russell Wilson moves the needle though. I think if I'm Brian Daboll, I'm sorry, I'm willing to live and die on the hill of Jackson Dart. You guys traded back up into the first round to get Jackson Dart. I believe that was a Daboll calling. I think that's what he wanted. I don't think Russell Wilson can come in and maybe make plays here and there. But if I'm Brian Daboll, I'm not comfortable with my job hanging on the balance on the back of Russell Wilson. At this point in his career, we know what Russell Wilson is. He can make plays here and there. He probably can sneak you a couple of games. But if I'm Brian Daboll, I want Jackson Dart in there playing for me. Simple. We traded up to get him. You know, Russell Wilson can start the season, but if Russell Wilson struggles even a little bit, he's skipping over Jameis. We throwing Jackson Dart in there. If I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna go out swinging, and I'm gonna go out with somebody who is my guy. That's just my opinion with Brian Daboll. But I 100% think he's on the hot seat, and right now, if I had to predict, I think Brian Daboll will be out of a job after the 2025 season because I don't see the Giants making the playoffs. They have a gauntlet schedule. I don't see them making the playoffs. I believe they'll have a top 5 defense. That defense is going to be very scary. With Abdul Carter, Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns, Thibodeau, I think that defense is going to be very good, but I don't think it's going to be good enough to propel them into the playoffs. But I could be wrong. I don't think it's going to be good enough to propel them into the playoffs. And I think if the Giants don't at least make the playoffs, Brian Daboll will be out of a job this season. So he's number 1 on my list. Moving on to the AFC, number 2 on my list, I got Zach Taylor, head coach of the Cincinnati Bengals. Poor starts to the season have been a key factor as they own a 2-6 record in their first 4 games of the season in the last 2 years combined. That falls directly onto the shoulders of Zach Taylor. The Bengals head coach is entering his 7th season on the job and is 46-52-1 over his tenure. He's coming off a back-to-back 9-8 season, but those have largely been looked at as disappointing campaigns despite being over 500 because of the high-flying offense. Taylor will need to get the Bengals back to the playoffs to keep his job, and it's no sure thing he'll be able to do that. On top of playing in a division with the Baltimore Ravens and the new-look Pittsburgh Steelers with Aaron Rodgers at the helm, the Cincinnati defense has major questions. The team is currently embroiled in a contract spat with star pass rusher Trey Hendrickson and rookie Shamar Stewart. Hendrickson's situation could ultimately lead to a trade which would make a defense that allowed 25.5 points per game, tied for the 5th highest in the NFL, even worse. My thoughts on Zach Taylor, I believe the same thing with that defense. And granted, they did make a Super Bowl. But with that offense that you have Joe Burrow, who to me is a top 5 quarterback in this league. I have him ranked number 2 behind Patrick Mahomes. With Jamar Chase, who some argue is the best wide receiver in football, I have him number 2 behind Justin Jefferson. With T. Higgins, with Brown at the running back position. The offensive line was a little shaky, but it's been getting better after this year. It's been getting better these past years. There's no way the Bengals should be missing the playoffs or going 9-8 with that good of a high-power offense. The defense is atrocious, and I believe the defense will be atrocious this year. But I'm going to tell you the honest to God truth, though, I don't feel bad for Cincinnati. For what they're doing right now to Shamar Stewart, I don't feel bad for him. Trey Hendrickson, you knew going into this past offseason, that if you decided to pay T. Higgins, there was going to be a struggle paying Trey Hendrickson. Now it's time. Now here it is. I believe Trey Hendrickson is traded because I don't believe they'll be able to pay him. There's no way in the world you're going to be able to have, 4 guys being top paid at their positions. You paid Joe Burrow. You paid T. Higgins. You paid Jamar Chase, and now you think you're going to be able to pay Trey Henderson? I don't see it happening, and I don't like what you guys are doing with the rookie Shamar Stewart, the first-round pick, when you've never had these clauses in your contract before, but now you want to have the contract, the language. You've never had this language in your contract before, but now when it comes to him, you want to add this language. I don't like that, so I don't know what's going to happen with them, but I believe if the Bengals don't at least make the playoffs, Zach Taylor will be out of a job. And honestly, I don't think just making the playoffs will be enough. I say they would at least have to make it to the divisional round for them to think about keeping Zach Taylor. But I'm not all the way sold on the Pittsburgh Steelers, so I definitely think that the Bengals could compete with Baltimore in that division, but I think Baltimore is going to run away with the division. I think Baltimore is loaded top to bottom, and that defense for Cincinnati is atrocious. And they can't have another slow start this year. If the Bengals come out and have another slow start this year like they've had the past 2 seasons, we could look at an in-season firing of Zach Taylor, if I'm being honest. There's no way this team should be starting out, as poorly as they do with that firepower on offense. That just doesn't make sense to me. But Zach Taylor, I have him number 2 on the list as coaches that is going to be on the hot seat entering this season. And last but not least, and some may not agree with me, I've said this before, and I'm going to keep reiterating it. Last but not least, my third head coach that should be on the hot seat heading into this 2025 NFL season is none other than Hall of Fame head coach Mike Tomlin for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, let me throw this disclaimer out there before I move forward. I believe Mike Tomlin is one of the greatest head coaches of all time. I believe Mike Tomlin is a great mind. But there comes a point in time, and I think Ryan Clark said this, there comes a point in time where your voice just gets stale in the locker room. And I think we have reached this point with Mike Tomlin in Pittsburgh. But before I dive deeper, let me read this article that I got, and then I'll touch it more. The Pittsburgh Steelers have not won a playoff game in 8 years. And to say the least, the fan base is restless. Mike Tomlin and the front office have received a lot of heat from Steelers Nation and the media. And that's not going to change unless the playoff woes come to a halt. The Steelers have lost 6 straight playoff games and have been outscored by a total of 96 points and outgained by 641 yards in those 6 losses in the first quarter alone. They have been outscored 73-0 in those 6 games. For the lone season, Pro Football Focus believes Tomlin is among the 10 NFL head coaches on the hot seat in 2025. Tomlin remains among the NFL's most contested coaches. Some feel he's one of the league's very best in his ability to finish with a winning record despite poor rosters, while other sides of the spectrum stresses his consistent failures late in season. Bradley Locker of Pro Football Focus wrote, Mike Tomlin has coached the Pittsburgh Steelers for 18 seasons, starting back in 2007. Here's my thing with Mike Tomlin, right? Like I said before, I believe Mike Tomlin is a great head coach. He's a Hall of Fame coach. My question for Steelers Nation and people who support the Steelers, when is just having a winning season going to be enough? Okay, you have a winning season, you make the playoffs, you lose in the wild card division, you lose in the wild card round. What good is that doing the team? Now you have the number 18, 17 through 20, 22 pick, and that's not helping the team. You're finding yourself in the same position every single year just because you're comfortable with Mike Tomlin having a winning season. When is enough going to be enough? Now, I give Mike Tomlin, some credit because since Ben Roethlisberger has left, the quarterback carousel has been terrible in Pittsburgh. You had Justin Fields and Russell Wilson last year. Russell Wilson showed you flashes, but ultimately you make the playoffs and you lose. This team hasn't done anything in the playoffs, I believe, since the 2016 season. I could be wrong, but I believe I'm correct on that one. They haven't done anything. That's what I'm saying. It's like it's wash, rinse, repeat. Aaron Rodgers, you got Aaron Rodgers this year. Aaron Rodgers is going to be the best quarterback Mike Tomlin has had since Ben Roethlisberger. And Aaron Rodgers is on the back end of his career. So that's saying a lot. But some of that falls on the organization. But we all know that when push comes to shove, it falls at the helm of the head coach. Especially when you've been the head coach for this long. You add Aaron Rodgers. You got DK Metcalf. They just traded for Jalen Ramsey literally yesterday. They also got Jonnu Smith, solid tight end. Darius Slay they added in the offseason. This right here is, to me, this right here is the end for Mike Tomlin. If I'm the Roonies and if I'm still a nation, having a winning record and making a wild card is not going to be good enough. Even if Pittsburgh somehow manages to make the wild card, have a winning record, make the wild card, if they lose in the first round, I still believe Mike Tomlin should be out because it's not good enough. Because once again, you're going to find yourself in the same position that you've been finding yourself in for the last couple of years. And I'm a Mike Tomlin guy. And I know it's going to be some pushback on that. But at the end of the day, the truth is the truth. When is having winning seasons year after year going to be enough when you're making the playoffs and going home? They don't hang banners for having winning seasons. Let's just be realistic. We talk about Aaron Rodgers winning championships decades ago, or whatever the case may be. We always want to bring up when the last time Aaron Rodgers won a championship, when the last time Mike Tomlin took his team to a Super Bowl, when the last time they won a championship. And I'm not trying to knock Mike Tomlin because, like I said, I'm a Mike Tomlin guy. He's a Hall of Fame head coach. He's a Hall of Fame guy. He's going to be in Canton. Absolutely no doubt about it. But my question is, when is people going to get tired of keep watching the same thing every year? I'm just saying, bro. I'm just saying, so for me, I got Mike Tomlin that's third on my list for coaches that should be on the hot seat this upcoming season. And also, I wanted to add another coach from that division to keep it 100. It was either between Mike Tomlin or Jim Harbaugh. It was either between one of those two. But I landed on Mike Tomlin because I feel like Mike Tomlin has been getting away a little bit more than Jim. But Jim, you don't got no excuses either. You don't have no excuses either. If I'm being realistic, it should be 3 head coaches on the hot seat in that division alone. Zach Taylor, Mike Tomlin, and Jim Harbaugh. But I left Jim Harbaugh off this list. But y'all let me know what y'all think in the comment section. Did I leave? Should I replace somebody with somebody else? Maybe some people may think Mike Tomlin shouldn't be on this list. Let me know what y'all think. What head coaches should be on the hot seat heading into this 2025 NFL season. And I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this episode, man. This is episode 52. I appreciate y'all for locking in with me each and every week. Like I said, do not forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. We are on our way to 300 subscribers. Also, do not forget to like this video, man. Like. Also, share the content when it drops. Follow me on all social media platforms. I'm active on Instagram. I'm active on TikTok. I'm trying to get my groove back on X. We gonna get there eventually. And I appreciate y'all for locking in with me each and every week. I see y'all next time.